you.
I'm not a voting party on that.
Welcome, everybody. I think the camera is on now, so I'm going to start with a little change here. Mr. Ferrara wants to go first, so we're going to let him go first, and he's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really appreciate that.
Okay. It's going to cost you.
In a moment of silence, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please be seated. And start off with personnel. Supervisor Ferrara.
All right, give me a second.
All of our warnings are gonna go off. Flash flood area. Mine just went off, but you can silence.
When it's quiet. What page is Mr. Ferrara going to be on?
That's all the darndest question.
There's no name, there's no numbers there, I found it.
At the end.
At the end?
Yes, almost to the end.
Oh.
PER number 1. Chris, you want to start?
Yeah.
Oh, Mike's looking.
Yeah, I'll try to get to where I'm at. So, thanks. Okay, Mr. Chairman, we have 9 issues to present to our committee, and the vacancy meeting just met. And, if you have any questions, we can answer those questions for you. Chris is here, so please ask away. Our first issue, create and fill 4 positions for mental health clinical therapists. Can I have a motion for that, please?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. By the way, all these issues for mental health are all zero budget. Matter of fact, most of these items on here are positions are no effect on the budget at all. They're either refills due to retirements or people taking another position someplace else. And the mental health issues are all part of some grant writing that Chris and Margaret can explain if you need that. So go ahead, Chris, please.
Yes, sir. So the mental health clinical therapists, the 4 of them, that's associated with that $2.8 million SAM at HSA grant that was funded there. So we're looking to actually create 4 different teams for this crisis response program. And for that, we'll need 4 mental health clinical therapists to be able to properly service those within our county.
Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Issue number 2, can I have a motion to create and fill 4 positions for a mental health peer advocate?
Motion.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Again, it goes along with the 4 teams. So we need 4 people for the peer advocate. Will require some training and so forth. And hopefully, excuse me, as Margaret said, we have to get this up and running by January 30th of 2022. So the sooner we can get started on this, the better off we're going to be. Any questions on this one? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Issue number 3 is create and fill 1 position for mental health program director. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second? Second. Thank you. And this is the key person for the whole program. So this is the one we want to go out and get right away. This person will be coordinating the whole program through the whole granting, 2 years of the grants and so forth. So this is the key piece of the puzzle so far. Any questions here? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Issue number 4, create and fill 1 position for senior caseworker. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Chris?
Yes, sir. So this position would actually allow for a current caseworker to be promoted up to a senior caseworker within DHS after 3 years, and a supervisor's recommendation, as well as taking the examination for the position. They allow for a promotion to a senior caseworker. So that is what we're trying to do here in compliance with civil service law.
Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Issue number 5, create and fill one position for social welfare examiner. Motion second, please.
Motion.
Second. Thank you. Chris?
So this one, it's actually been reevaluated, the current program that they have. The SNAP and HEAP applications continue to increase within that division. They recently went from 9 months to 12 months of processing there, so the part-time program is no longer sustainable. So we're trying to make sure that we can hire on a full-time social welfare examiner to keep up with the demand.
Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Issue number 6, create and fill one position for fraud investigator.
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. This position, we have a fraud investigator who's going to be retiring. The idea is to bring somebody on, and they would split the time, but the current investigator would be able to train the new person so that the transition, when that person actually retires, will be in place, and we hopefully won't miss a beat in that part of it. So that's the reason for that position. Any questions there? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Issue number 7, eliminate one position of employee and training assistant and create and fill one position for employment and training counselor. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. This is basically, we are unable to, we have no applicants for the employee and training assistant. There's no availability. We're going to eliminate that position and create the training counselor, and hopefully get somebody for that position. And it's a competitive position, so have the test and so forth, and move in that direction, and just wipe the other one off the books. There's more availability for the counseling position than the other position. Any questions here? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Issue number 8, create and fill one position for Director of Preventative Health Services. Motion, please.
Motion.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Chris?
Yes, sir. So the public health has actually received a grant funding for 4 fellows from the state. This is for 2 years, and they'll need a senior level nurse to help provide supervision and guidance of the nursing staff as well as those fellows. So this is a fully funded position for the next 2 years, and it will essentially require a bachelor's or a master's degree to fulfill that position in nursing.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Issue number 9, the Vacancy Committee met today and made the following recommendations. Fill one full-time caseworker trainee for Division of Human Services and fill one full-time cleaner position for the Facilities Department. This requires just the Personnel Committee's approval, and then it'll be done. Can I have a motion for this, please?
Motion.
Can I have a second, please? Thank you. The full-time caseworker, Chris, go ahead, I'll let you take that one.
So both are actually due to resignations. We're just trying to backfill the vacancies.
Yeah, and the cleaner position, same thing, resignation, so just a refill that way. Any questions here? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Is there any unfinished business for the Personnel Committee? Any new business for the Personnel Committee? Mr. Chairman, the Personnel Committee is adjourned.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you for making that adjustment.
Okay, no problem. Next up, water sewer treatment management and operations. Mr. Hayes can't be here tonight, so Vice Chair Borks is going to take over.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call the Water Sewer Treatment Management and Operations Committee to order. Issue number 1, Board of Supervisors calls for public hearing to consider bond resolution for Seneca County Sewer District number 1. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Have a second?
Peter, you want to come up into the podium and be ready?
Needs a second.
That'd be you, Bob.
Bob's got a second, because he's the only one left.
Yeah.
Only 3 of you.
That's right, I'm on the committee, I'll
The
second
only one
it.
left.
We're pretty low here.
Peter's going to speak about it.
Get a pay raise tonight.
If you have enough, it'd probably be good to go to everybody, whoever wants to. Sorry, bear with me. Oh, thank you.
What is it,
2 each? I've got 1 and 2, and I think you. Yeah, there's 1 for 1, 2, and 1 for 1.
Did we get the same?
Start passing it out. Did you pass it out to anybody?
You're down to here.
Who didn't get one? We're doing one.
Thank Mark.
What do you got, Carl? We need 1. Okay.
How many did you
We
make?
need 1 over here. We need sewer district 1. We just have 2. We got 2 twos. And I think Ernie needs a 1. Ernie, you need a 1?
I got a 1 and a 2.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you, sir.
Leave it to an engineer.
Oh, sure. You need enough for the committee, you know.
Thank you.
Now,
What's wrong?
Margaret, can you get 2 copies for Mr. Hayes and Mr. Barnhart to have?
I don't think so, hold on. Okay, the ones who should actually have one is Supervisor Borst, Supervisor Garlic Lorenzetti, Supervisor Heisen. Do you have one, Mr.
Have
Heisen?
them, yes.
Mr. Borst?
I have Sewer District 2.
He needs, there's a 1 right there in your hand, Margaret. 'Cause you gave me 2 ones.
And Supervisor Heisen? Garlic Lorenzetti?
I have them 1 and 2, yeah.
I'm not sure who got what, but you don't have enough one, I don't think.
I believe, and I my apologies, I'm looking through this, I don't think
No, that's because I passed out, beyond the committee, so who else needs a 1?
I don't have a 1. I'm not on the committee, so.
Not on the committee, but that's okay.
I got a 2.
we were copying these today,
Yeah.
apologies, I put that copy multiple times, I do have 1 more copy, so I have to stop and pretty much memorize.
Yeah.
That copy, it's an email that I can send out.
Are you doing a screen, did you say?
No, I was not, no.
Okay, then I'll take a 1.
That's another 2, Mark.
That's another 2.
I got a 2. We're good.
I have 1 that took.
The next thing I'm passing out is the seeker, the part 2 and 3 documents.
Oh, that's the thing you have to go over.
It's fine, Margaret.
I can go over.
Does he have a 1?
I do.
Sounds like an auction.
Supervisor Lott, Supervisor Ford, did they get a secret? That's the one you're gonna read.
I'm gonna, yeah, I'm basically gonna go through.
You guys should have a
We're
copy
back
of
here.
the secret. How about my copy, and how about your copy, or do you want the secret copy too?
There's an extra seeker right here.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
one
we
there.
got an extra one there, okay. All right, you guys should have copies, because it's gonna have to read it word for word.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can get a copy for that. I think what's that?
Okay.
Oh, you got something else to pass out?
I think we'll walk through it and then we'll determine who doesn't have what and I'll go from there. So I had a big pile and trying to get this done quickly. I think beyond, I apologize on the sewer district 1 map and plan. Hopefully everybody who needs part of the committee has that, and I can send it out to make sure everybody has that. The second thing I was here to, is there anything else? I was also here to talk about seeker as well, for the same project basically. So
Yeah.
my goal tonight, 2 things really. I was here last month to talk, we started the seeker process, which was the county's intent to serve as lead agency. That process has been started. There's been a lot of letters have been received to date regarding the various communities. I think SHPO, some correspondence. Essentially no objection to the county being lead agency. That's very standard. What we have is the draft part 2 and 3. Part 1 was part of the notice of intent to serve as lead agency that defined the project. Part 2 identifies the potential issues to be looked at under seeker, and then basically, as a county serving lead agency, identifies what the mitigating factors are going to be. That happens in part 3. So the 2 documents were handed out. Part 2 walks through each of the potential issues. Part 3 identifies what the mitigating factor is. So really, the seeker process, we're probably about 2.5 weeks in. It needs to play out for the full 30 days. The intent right now is at the November 9th full board meeting that the county would actually adopt the resolution for determination of significance. The expectation is that determination of significance will be a neg deck type 1 action, which is standard, which essentially is the full environmental assessment form we passed out. So with that being said, I'll leave it to the committee on how they want to proceed with. I'd call this more or less a preliminary seeker review. The intent here is to get it into the committee's hands so they got ample time to review the documents. And then I think on the November 9th, any questions that come up, we can walk through it. I can walk through the document now as well, based on the county. I think next on my list would be to kind of walk everybody through the map and plans as well. That would be part of the bond resolutions. So I guess I'm here to kind of answer questions, or however you want me to proceed. I can take time and walk through all the documents if that's what the committee chooses. So.
Bob, Cindy?
I'm not on the committee, but I can just speak from last night because Peter was at the town board last night, and some of my board members made him go through item by item by item and by item. It took the poor man 45 minutes, and they had it in their possession for 3 weeks prior to that. So hopefully we won't make them do that.
So again,
I have a question. Now that the documents are done, has anybody talked to Docs about what their contribution is going to be to the project? So
Docs has, in April, Docs received a letter from the county that pretty much identified the contributions were a portion based on flow for 5 points. And so there was a letter that went out for 5 points and for Willard, and essentially looking for the contribution. I think Willard, the number was about 4.5 million. And it's actually in the map and plans, and then for 5 points, I think the number is about 7.5 million. That's based on the apportioned flow contribution. I've talked to Docs, the engineer, I'm talking engineer to engineer. At one point in time, that letter had been essentially advanced up to the food chain to kind of get, essentially within Docs to kind of get a response. That's been slow going, so there's been limited response to date. I think I've communicated with Mitch on some of my thoughts on Docs. Ultimately, the one thing we're seeing is a significant increase in costs right now. And I want to make sure that once I think this process starts and we show the WIA grant, that's going to engage Docs more. But the reach out's been going on the county's end and on my end personally, and they just have not been too responsive as far as any kind of formal acceptance. From engineer to engineer, they saw the numbers, they were consistent with what we talked about from years past even. So there weren't any surprises on that end. My one concern with that is to make sure that if we see industry-wide, we're seeing some significant, like unprecedented spikes in construction costs, materials deliveries, materials costs being the main driver. That number that was asked for in April doesn't lock the county into a number that may be low. I mean, when the project finally comes through. So the way the map and plans were developed, there's two alternatives. One is that the county would simply advance, seek the purpose of the map and plan is to establish the maximum project amount. And ultimately, from our objective is, we want to make sure that number is a high number, because that's the number that's going to be reflected in the WIA application. And that WIA application, that's kind of a fixed number. So if the county asks for $10 million on WIA, and then they get the WIA grant, there's a $2.5 million grant that's at stake. If the project ends up being $11 million, the county really doesn't have the opportunity to kind of get that delta back and that $250,000 that otherwise could have. So the map and plan, the objective is to really try to shoot high to make sure that you've got a good, safe number on that end. That being said, with the way the map and plans were, in discussing with Mitch, we've opened a bunch of bids in the past month, and we're seeing numbers that are high, reflected by that. So we've actually, in the map and plan, we've adjusted the number 5% higher than what we had in the original PER from November 2020. Essentially, that's a materials escalator. That's kind of how we address that. Labor's labor. I mean, that really hasn't changed significantly. It's really just, it's material. So we're hoping that that's putting a that's on top of the 20% contingencies we had, built in the projects already. So that's the intent. That number doesn't necessarily reflect the percentage contribution that docks would otherwise have. So I think to me, that April letter is basically, here's where the county's position is. And I think ultimately, as an agreement's established, that number needs to be finalized. So however that plays out, I know for the 318 project, for example, the county pretty much spent all the money, had the number, and they got no funding. NYSDA did not participate until in the end, and then they cut a check at the end of the project. That I'm not sure if that will happen with how docs would proceed with that process, if they would participate along the way, or they would ultimately just essentially reimburse the county once they're satisfied with the project has come through. So really, from the bonding perspective, the focus is the anticipation is the county would seek that maximum amount to be funded. In parallel with that, with WIA grants, things like that number. So if it's $10 million project, it's an easy round number. If the county bonded for $10 million, that's not the number. But if they got the grant, the project cost the county would be $7.5 million. So the bond really the county would seek would be 7.5 and not necessarily 10 million. But that bond resolution is really the document that EFC is going to want to see when they want to look at what the project cost is, to kind of demonstrate you're asking for what, and the county is, and it also demonstrates commitment from the county to advance the project.
Okay.
It's a long-winded answer. Sorry if it's so.
Yeah, I can understand though, if you want the grant to come through, and then that way they're not saying that they're going to give us more than they need to give us.
But it's a two-way street, and the county's got to protect its own interests too. So I want to make sure that that's basically, I think, as this process evolves, that's, I think, how it's going to go. It's just been extremely slow with docs, because I had a conversation shortly after the letter, and the feedback was, yeah, it's moved up, it's advanced. So essentially, it had gone up the process to kind of get to the director level as far as acceptance, and the letter has not been forthcoming. So we will feed them the map and plan. We'll feed them they've been, I included in seeker. They're, I think, an involved agency on seeker. So they're well aware of the progress that's being made, and they'll, the WIA grant application, they'll see all that stuff is going. So the county is certainly serious on, I think they understand that.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, so the numbers that you gave that by the flow rates of what they're using, correct, for docks?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was what again, 7 million?
It's about, for 5 points, about 7.5 million, and for Willard, if you hold on, I can check the number. For Willard, it was, I believe, 4.5, but I gave and you know what, I promised I had that map and plan memorized for Willard.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So I think that, what we're looking at is if the project cost increases, and hopefully we've captured that with the escalation that we've incorporated in that revised estimate, that's not necessarily reflected in the current docs ask from the county, because it was an April ask. We're kind of looking at, this is, as we're coming out of COVID, everyone's getting busy, and we're seeing a lot of openings, and steel is just going through the roof right now. So we've seen projects where piping is 6 months out. So there's a lot of long lead items. expenses, materials expenses are really going through the roof. Anything concrete related, anything piping related has been, and is it supply chain? You know, we don't know how long it's gonna last.
So if that's the case, which we all know that it's true about, you know, first of all, getting the goods, but that everything's gone up in price. Then would we hold up, we'd get the bonding, but would we wait for things to go back down in price? Do we have enough time that?
Well, the push rate,
Wait
yeah.
until those products start to come back down to a normal price?
I think there's a long process between where we are today and breaking ground.
Yeah.
So the initial deadline we have is the WE application. That came out, it didn't come out in 2020. It's out now, it's due on, the application's due, and that's kind of what we're under contract for, is to kind of get the county through that process. November 22nd, those grants are applied for. Then there's a design process, there's a bidding process, so you're probably, you know, it could be a year out, probably in a hard push to kind of really get to the point where, you know, your shovels are in the ground. So the bidding process, you know, best case is probably sometime in 2022. You know, that's, and then you'll know at that point what the numbers are. So in 6 months, we're gonna have a much better feel on what's going on with the market. And the WIA grant also is, that's like I guess the core grant. I mean, there's, with these projects, I think Sewer District 2 in particular, there's some income things we can look at on CDBG funding with some of the Hamlin Romulus and some of the areas in 5 Points. There certainly RD funding is out there. WDEC, the county applied for WQIP grants for under the sewer, on some of the sewer, I think one of the sewer projects. We didn't apply for that here. Usually we like to get the WIA in place first, and then the WQIP is another opportunity. WIA is the heart of it. WQIP isn't gonna be as big so there's a lot of other funding opportunities. This is usually the big thing here is WIA, and it's the potential for hardship financing. And that next year at this time, that hardship financing may or may not be there. So that was a surprise to us when actually we saw the scores.
Now, this is a crazy question. Do you remember what it was gonna be when we, 3-4 years ago, were thinking of the one big, was that 25 or 26?
The larger combined, the larger combined project was always more expensive. There was a payback. I mean, that was really it was always initially.
I get that, but was it what I remember is 26.
Yeah, I remember.
That's probably right, yeah. I mean, you're looking at, it was.
Money by separating, and then if we get the money from docks, won't be in a bad spot. Sewer
District 1, the Willard with the docks ask in Willard it's really not, and the map and plan kind of has a breakdown of the potential, really the debt service. You're in the $100 per year type range for that. 5 Points is a different animal. Just the difference, 5 Point, it's a more expensive project. There's just more considerations because they discharge into the creek, so there's more controls are required on the back end, and it's a smaller user base. So the docks has a larger presence there. But I mean, ultimately, you're talking, our estimate is like 1,200 EDUs in the Sewer District 2, and Sewer District 1, it's almost double that. So
we had Hillside in that old, right?
Yeah, in the old one, yeah.
We're gonna fix that plan up.
Yeah.
So
I know that this was cheaper way.
Our map and plan for Sewer District 2 does include the treatment plant, and it includes Hillside decommissioning. So part of this is our PER that we were originally engaged to put together included Hillside options, and then during that process, Hillside closed. So then we adjusted our cost to show decommissioning. Based on correspondence with DEC, the county advanced that last year. So I've been talking to Hunt, so the numbers, because the PER had the Hillside decommissioning in there, you know, this is our opportunity. We can include it in there because that PER has already been submitted to EFC. So that part of that project, we want to include that in the Sewer District 2 improvements, simply because it builds a project, it builds for a better project, and then now's the opportunity to kind of get some grant money for Hillside decommissioning. Hillside there was 5 projects that were submitted to EFC in July. We call it the Plus system. Hillside was the one that did not receive, it got a really low score. Like the 5 Points and Willard got scores over 100. That made them immediately eligible for subsidized financing, and they received an H designation, meaning that county can apply for and anticipated to be eligible for hardship financing. The Hillside decommissioning in and of itself didn't receive that score. So Hillside in and of itself in a project probably has lower chance for funding. It's got lower chance for any kind of decent financing on that end. So the map and plan currently contemplates Hillside included in that project simply to kind of bring it along with that project and hopefully maximize the opportunity for hardship financing and the WIA grant as well. So I think, I mean, I'll leave it to the committee. The documents, I'll make sure everybody has documents. I'll probably be in town tomorrow, so I can bring some hard copies and drop them off. I can certainly walk through the secret process now. I think our intent is have the committee review it, and then during the process, questions between now and the 9th, and certainly on the 9th, we can take the time to kind of walk through that. So I think that the meeting on November 9th, from the perspective of those WIA grant applications, is going to be a pretty full meeting.
Yeah. And Pete, I think it's fair to say, given the scope of the improvements that are planned, we're looking at a negative declaration, right? Probably not even close to being a positive deck.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a pretty standard project, and even, I mean, from a seeker standpoint, this project's a lot simpler than what we'd originally contemplated, because there's no conveyances, you're limited to the footprint of the treatment plants. So it's a pretty simple project from that standpoint. Walking through here, there's really nothing significant on here. I think just given the area, you're near some historic landmarks. You're near them. You're not, the footprint of where we're working on is nowhere near there. So that's really some of the items that we've identified. It's pretty standard components for a construction plant for a treatment plant upgrade.
Well, I'm good with not going through it step by step tonight, if everybody else on the committee is.
Yeah. I agree.
You're off the hook tonight.
As far as the seeker parcels goes?
Yeah.
Right, well, county attorney, will you be looking that over?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I mean, the seeker needs to be addressed at the committee briefly.
I'm sorry?
I mean, you've addressed the seeker issue briefly, and that's sufficient for the committee.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that would allow it to go to the full board on the 9th, and then you could go through the part 2s and the part 3s and be prepared as a full board. And because of the 30-day referrals, because this is a type 1 action, you couldn't vote as a full board tonight, because we have to get through the 30-day referral to all the involved and interested agencies, for which a number of the towns on the county board have received those letters. So,
and this is a process where ultimately the seeker documentation is part of the WIA grant application. So you want to make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed with respect to completeness of their process.
So November 9th, we'll go through the whole impact statement.
Correct.
So everybody will be taking part in the voting on it.
So November 9th will be seeker. Needs to be a public hearing for acceptance of essentially to discuss the projects. And I think that, I'm not sure if we've walked through that process, that public hearing would really needs to happen in advance of the bond resolution. So timing wise, it would be nice to do seeker first. I think I'm not sure if the attorney has any thoughts on that, but normally we like to have seeker kind of completed first and then with the public hearing. So timing wise, coordination wise on the meeting, if it's a committee and then break for a public hearing, or I'm not sure what the process would be, but that timing is usually pretty important as far as establishing those processes. So
yeah, when we set up the agenda on November 9th, we can make sure I can work with county attorney and Ms. Lee, and we'll make sure that the first vote is the neg deck before the bonding resolution and the WIA grant, so that the votes will fall sequentially.
Again, the public hearing needs to be incorporated into that as well.
Yes.
Okay. Now with the public hearing, I think that should be advertised. That's a 10 to 20 days. So in our calendar we originally provided, there was a need for advertising. So that would need to be advertised tomorrow, Thursday or Friday in the Finger Lakes Times.
We normally don't do 20-day. We normally do 10-day.
Okay, well, it's for this process, it's 10 to 20 days. So that would be the.
We're not even we're going to be able to make that one. We'll have to verify that. We'll clarify that in the morning.
Okay.
But we do have enough time.
We should have it.
Take care of it by
I got to check
November
it
9th.
against the seeker.
You agree, Margaret?
I mean, I've got to check it against the seeker requirement.
Okay.
Okay.
So
We can still pass these resolutions, the first four, right?
I'm
You
sorry?
have a copy of the agenda?
I did not actually pick up a copy of the agenda, so.
Take that empty.
Yeah, and there are actually 6 resolutions, 3 for sewer 1 and 3 for sewer 2, moving the seeker, setting the public hearing on the bonding and acceptance of the map and plan, and then authorization of filing the WIA grants. So there's 3 for each district on the agenda at this time.
Did you find the page, Peter?
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now, okay.
Take your
Hearing
time.
to- Plan and instructors of the environment. Public hearing consider bond resolutions. Yeah, that's essentially effectively the process.
14 days.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, so we have a motion and a second, and then a discussion on issue number 1. Does anybody have any more discussion on issue number 1? All in favor? Aye.
Peter?
Okay.
Well, we can't skip.
Issue number 2, Board of Supervisors declares that upgrades to Seneca County Sewer District Number 1 plant and infrastructure by Seneca County will not have an adverse impact on the environment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion and a second?
I
Any,
got to interrupt very quickly here. We do have, that's what I just checked. We've got a 14-day notice requirement. So we're going to have to adjust the schedule.
In other words, because of the OVID Board Gazette, you will only have 5 days between the first day of publication and your public hearing. You can't count, you all know you can't count the day of publication or the public hearing day. That will give you 5, so you need 14 days. So you could either do a special meeting, or how about a special meeting on the November committee night?
Yeah, we don't have it.
That'd be November 22nd or 23rd.
We have a deadline for the WIA grants, right, Peter?
22nd of November, correct.
Say again?
22nd of November by 5 PM.
Can we advertise in the Finger Lakes Times?
You have 2 official papers this year, so.
What?
You have 2
Still have
county
the-
papers this year, you have to advertise in both to make it
In both?
legal. Well, I don't know if it's legal, regular, to the regulations of the state.
Who's the other
Then you'll
paper?
have to have
Finger
a
Lakes
special
Times?
meeting.
We're going to need a
You don't have
special,
time, no.
Yeah.
we're going to need to do it as a special meeting.
At a later date.
Sometime between the 9th and the,
Well, let me see, we
22nd.
put it in the paper on Friday, and it will come out on the 3rd, and then 1, 2, 3, 4.
You're talking the 29th or the 30th?
10, 11, 12, wait, how many days?
You're talking about the
13,
30th?
14. The soonest you can have it will be November the 18th. The 14th day will fall 1, 2, 3, wait, it comes out on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. The earliest you can have it is November 18th, is your public hearing.
And what day is it due, the WIA?
It
22nd.
would be the 22nd. So essentially, the grant application, that the bond resolution, I mean, you'd be estoppel when you could send it to EFC later once the estoppel period's expired, but all that information can be pre-uploaded. So the grant application's done. It's really just, when we put these together, it's the two grant applications, all the other information. So essentially, once we get copies, it's just uploaded to EFC. So it's a busy weekend, but it's certainly doable. I mean, that's not a,
So we can have the public hearings on resolution number 1 and number 3, but we're gonna need more time for resolution 2 and 4 then. For the secret. That we're,
resolution 2, I apologize, I'm trying to look at your numbers.
Could do it either the 17th or the 18th.
did you have the question there?
No, I'm looking for I think the issue is the seeker doesn't need to be noticed during like that. The seeker is, I think we're fine with seeker on completing that the 9th. That actually plays out well because that really should be done before the final bond resolution plays out. So I think the issue was the scheduling that public hearing
Yeah, 14 days is
So
the,
which ones need the public hearing at a later date? Number 1 and 3 then?
That would be the bond, yeah, for the bond
the
resolution.
bond act
One-
could be in December, but you want to do this before the 22nd. So the earliest we can do it is the 17th, and we have to have it done, the 18th, and the latest we can do it is the 21st.
So November 18th. You probably want a board meeting then. Special meeting that.
Yeah, the 18th, yeah,
That's the earliest we can do it.
yeah.
Okay. And that'd be a full board meeting at the same time, right? That's not just a committee meeting.
No, that's full
It'd be a
board
full board
With a public hearing.
with a public
for
hearing.
the public hearing. Okay.
Thank you.
Which means the resolution has to be amended tonight.
So resolution 1 and 3 will be amended then, right? The call for a public hearing on November 18th, I guess. Let me amend that. We're doing number 1, so I'll amend that.
Well, we're on number 2 with a motion and a second on number 2. So that one doesn't need an amendment, so we can finish that one up and then go back to number 1 and amend.
Yeah, you can go back and do it that way.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
We were
All
on
right, so let's finish up number 2. Any more discussion on number 2? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Go back to number 1. All right, Dave, I need some advice here. How do I word the,
Well, it's the committee, you're just moving the committee to amend the public hearing date from the 9th of November to the 18th of November.
even though we voted on it and
Yeah,
approved
it's
it.
just it's a,
okay,
you can, yeah, you're basically recalling it and amending it.
okay. So
Nobody-
issue number 1, I'm recalling it to amend the public hearing date from November 9th to November 18th.
Okay,
Motion?
At what
Have a
time?
motion.
What time? 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock, Margaret?
That's what it says in your
Okay.
resolutions.
At 6 o'clock.
However, it's a special meeting, Mr. Chairman, you can make it anytime you want. The only thing you'll be doing is the public hearing.
I'd say 6 o'clock.
6 works for me. Yeah. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Carried, yep.
Issue number 3, Board of Supervisors calls for public hearing to consider bond resolution and map and plan for Seneca County Sewer District Number 2. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second,
All right, and this one we have to change the public hearing date also?
yes.
Do we need a separate motion for that,
Make a
Dave?
motion to change the time to November 18th at 6 PM.
Could I get a motion to change the date and time on the,
You need a second. He made the motion.
Second.
Okay.
motion to change the date and time from November 9th at 6 o'clock to November 18th at 6 o'clock for the public hearing? All right,
Motion.
Yes,
all right. All in favor on that motion?
Yay.
Yes.
yes.
Okay, back to the original motion. Any more discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that mess is done. All right. Number 4, Board of Supervisors declares that upgrades to Seneca County Sewer District Number 2 plant and infrastructure by Seneca County will not have an adverse impact on the environment.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
5, Supervisors authorize time-sensitive repairs at Willard Wastewater Treatment Facility.
Motion.
Okay, we got a guest coming up.
All right.
Dan Duddleston, welcome.
You have a major problem at Sewer District 1, and it comes to be 31,000. And I need approval to get it done.
And what needs to be replaced?
The number 1 aeration tank is, all the pipes and equipment's rotted out.
Okay,
I'll make a motion for this repair.
I'll second it.
okay. Any discussion on that?
I think it needs to be done.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
This was motion 5.
that was 5, yep.
Are those all the repairs you got?
For today, there's gonna be more down the road.
Okay, so this will get you going to
Yep.
start the process anyway.
All right, thank you, Dan.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
See how easy that was, Dan, coming up here?
Issue number 6, 2021 Water Infrastructure Improvement Act Sewer Districts 1 improvements.
Motion.
A second on that one.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Wait, no discussion? I thought he was gonna speak.
Peter, want to add anything to this or not?
This is all part of what I've taught. It's basically the final piece of that is applying for the WIA grant.
The WIA grant, okay.
application.
Yep.
All right,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay. Issue number 7, 2021 Water Infrastructure Improvement Act Sewer District Number 2 improvements.
Motion.
Second?
Bob?
Bob?
Yeah, second.
Okay, any discussion on that?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Issue number 8, engineering firm to develop study for a water sewer authority. Board of Supervisors referred back to committee the drafted resolution selecting Hunt engineers to develop a study for a water and sewer authority for Seneca County. So
We don't
the,
have enough votes here tonight to do anything anyway on
We
that.
do, we can
3
make a
people, I'm voting
recommendation.
no, and you 2 are voting yes, so we don't have a majority.
but what I would like to see is to bring MRB and Hunt back, maybe invite whoever from the board wants to come back and do a second interview for them. Bob had mentioned that Hunt had given some information on other options. I don't really think we asked for that in the original proposal. We kind of asked what would your plan be for a water authority. So to give equal time to everybody, I kind of think we should have them back and see what their thoughts are on, both of them. Maybe also have a set of questions ahead of time, ask all of them the same questions instead of, I don't think we asked MRB that I can recall, what the option would be, or if there are other options, which we did Hunt. So that would be my recommendation.
We didn't, I agree with that. I think that I definitely think, Waterloo and Seneca Falls should be present at that. They have the water treatment plants. I think all supervisors that should be there, but at least open it up. So there's another time, bring them both back in, have a certain set of questions for both firms. That would be the only, fair way to do it. And again, I don't think that, just the water committee should have made that, big decision on its own. So can you not agree to just do that, Chairman Heisen?
No, I can't. I'd rather wait till the full committee is here on this matter.
So let me ask, County Attorney, are we able as 2 voting members to bring them back and offer a certain night for it, or is that?
No, your board, any committee action does require a majority of your members. So by having 2 members not here tonight, that leaves you a 3-member group, and you would have to act unanimously in order to accomplish any action.
Okay, so Bob, seeing how we're in tune with having everybody together, doing it again, bringing the 2 firms back, which would be the only fair, equal way to do it, then what's your answer if you can't agree to that?
I just say we wait till the next board meeting, next committee meeting, when Dave is here and so is Kyle, excuse me. That's all. So,
Whatever.
we can wait 2 more weeks. We can wait a month.
Pardon me?
We can wait 2 weeks, we can wait a month more. We've been waiting quite a few years on this.
And is this, I'm asking again, this
Then you
isn't
should
time,
probably ask Seneca Falls if they're interested in joining the water authority with their water plant, getting rid of it.
If you're going to talk about Seneca Falls, you're going to have to use the microphone because I don't know about anybody else. I have a hard time hearing. I'm hard of hearing. I miss 90% of what you say, what Mr. Ettman says. So if you're talking about Seneca Falls, unless you're talking about Supervisor Cronenweather and Lott, I got to hear you.
No, I'm talking about Seneca Falls, if they have an interest in turning over their water plant to a water authority.
that's not even what that's not what.
that's one of the
That's not
questions
what the
here.
grant was for. It was to present what an authority would do. So to ask that question of the Seneca Falls supervisor is totally irrelevant.
No, it's not.
I think it most certainly is.
Because that's
He
what
voted
this-
on doing the grant study.
The water
You have to
study,
do the
the water
study.
study includes having a water authority of places where they're gonna get water from, which is Seneca Falls and Waterloo. They are mentioned in the proposals of MRB and Hunt, of the two villages, provide, one village and one town providing water,
Yeah.
becoming
both
part of the
them can.
authority, so.
Both of them can.
You can also buy water. If
Yeah,
we create
from the
the
other
water
one.
authority from Waterloo and Seneca Falls, and MRB gave us that presentation a couple years ago, and they explained all that. So the water authority, you don't have to give up your assets unless you
Well, you could,
want to.
you
know
gotta
what I mean?
buy the water, but then you gotta put a pipe right at the plant to take over.
Well, I mean, it was a pretty long process when we went up and visited MRB that day. They had a lot of options, probably because they have done it successfully and know exactly how it works.
Right, and I think the day that we voted on the grant, Bob, you were the only one that voted no. Now, I don't think you publicly need me to say why that is, and quite honestly, Varick doesn't have to do it.
Say why it is then, whatever you're talking about, say why it is. What did they vote against or something?
Because you let the water come through your town and you do a wheeling charge of 25%, which is legal, but it's not right.
Okay, you sound like Dave Kaiser now, wheeling charge.
It is called wheeling, look it up.
Marking it up.
It's called wheeling.
Well,
So we all know that, but I don't think you should try to,
well, you
Sabotage.
wheel water from Scuga Lake to the town of Barrick too, so you're wheeling it too.
I don't get any charge in my town, I don't make any money.
10-cent markup, 10-cent markup.
That's-
I mark it up 10 cents to Romulus too.
I'm not even gonna go there with your
Well, you
figures
just said
and
it.
your numbers, Bob, but to hold this up, because you don't want a water authority, you're one town. Every other supervisor voted
I'm
to do
holding
the
it up.
grant.
I'm not gonna change my vote, so I'm not gonna vote in favor of this.
Not to vote in favor of having them both come in, where all the supervisors could be present, and we ask
I'm
them
not gonna
both the
vote
same
until, I'm
questions.
not gonna vote yes until Dave is here and,
Whatever,
Kyle
then.
is
I'm
here.
done, Joe,
okay.
whatever.
Okay, so we'll let that sit until next month on the agenda. File it under unfinished business, Dave?
Yeah, make sure it gets back on the agenda,
It
though.
just stay,
Vote for tonight to,
we're just not bringing it forward, it's on the table now.
Okay, so just leave it.
You can just say, you make an application, it has not come out of committee.
Okay,
It's still in the committee.
okay,
So it'll be on the
So
committee
it stays
agenda.
on your old business
Okay,
for the
that's-
next meeting.
okay. All right. Any unfinished business for water sewer treatment?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I was curious as to if there was any update on the status of the Route 414 sewer acquisition.
414, what now?
Route 414 sewer acquisition.
Position, okay, that's what I thought you said. We did discuss that tonight. Mitch, you wanna?
I'll defer to the county attorney.
What we have is I'll call it the last holdup at this point, is working out the maintenance agreement with the town of Seneca Falls and determining whether we're going to move forward doing it as a one-phase or a two-phase project, and where the money will come from to upgrade or repair or upgrade the system before the county, either as we take control of it or shortly thereafter.
Are the issues with the IDA currently worked out?
To the extent that they're not going to give us any money, or if they give us any money, they're going to want it paid back, we're looking at options that are, we're just simply looking at having to take it over and repair it.
There's no holdup on Seneca Falls part.
No, I mean, yours is.
I want to make, okay.
Yours is purely minimal. I apologize.
But the impression is that we're somehow holding this up, and that's not the case. I just want to make that clear.
And the town of Seneca Falls is not holding this up.
Thank you.
They have a piece that we put together, but we're really, the issue is that some of the maintenance questions have to do with how quickly we are going to, I guess, repair or restore or renew the damages or the issues or the condition at the 414 line.
I might be wrong, but I thought we were going to use some ARP money. That was a suggestion to finally get this sealed and delivered, and
I agree with that. I thought we voted that too.
that's what I thought, and
We gave, wasn't it 48,000?
something like that. Yep,
Okay, but
whatever.
I thought we voted that months ago.
That's what I thought.
I don't think we ever officially voted it
Yeah, we did.
I thought I don't know.
in this
Who
board.
knows? But anyway, I don't know what the holdup, I mean, we should be getting the repairs done so we can make the transition to the county and then
Right.
go from there.
We were gonna pay for the repairs and then start charging the people of the users an O&M fee.
Because now the repairs won't be done until 2022
We
probably.
also talked about using ARRA money, ARRAA money to pay for it.
Whatever, we talked about pay.
Well, make
48
that a motion then, and we'll just bring it up to the full board. Which way, how do you want to pay it? You want to pay it out of the general fund contingency money or out of ARRAA money?
Wherever Haley thinks we should. Either.
We gotta put it in the resolution, which way you're going.
I would suggest the ARPA money.
Okay, you already got the money,
How
so.
can everybody remember
You have half of it.
on this already? And
It had-
we didn't vote on it.
Or
It
was
didn't vote on, it wasn't voted on, it was discussed.
Was
The-
it discussed
you
in
all-
It was
executive
discussed,
and we?
it probably was
straw polled?
discussed in executive session, probably.
Okay.
And/or at one of the ARPA discussions, but it wasn't brought before the full board
Okay,
or
so
the
we got-
committee.
I thought when we voted in executive session that we were all in favor and we were gonna bring it to the full board.
So Joe, ask for a motion.
All right, could I get a motion
Money.
do we have a dollar amount?
Not to exceed, just put not to exceed $48,000 because I don't remember the exact number, but
Motion not to exceed $48,000 payable to the IDA for the sewer
No,
line.
it's not payable to the IDA.
Oh,
It's payable to a contractor.
to repair the sewer line. Roof
money
work.
to be taken from the.
Money to be taken from the ARPA funds.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion on that?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So now what, you're gonna bring it to the board?
Wait a minute, we aren't officially, Mitch, we aren't supposed to be doing the sewer district number 3, and that's Public Works. So when you get to Public Works, Don, you can bring it up.
We'll do.
We just practiced. I got it down.
Thank you, Mitch.
You know what? It's
We'll
just
make
not
sure
right
we
to
do it
me.
right.
What a night for Dave Hayes not to come.
He knew.
All right, so,
As you, I would try to adjourn as quick as possible.
yeah, I'm trying. So we had 2 votes for yes, 1 vote for no. How do we do this now that we've,
Wait a minute.
No, we aren't gonna,
I think.
You illegally voted on something, so it's a moot point.
If I may, I think the chairman basically made an application to withdraw the motion due to lack of jurisdiction of this committee.
right,
perfect. Thank you.
yeah, that's too complicated, but now we got it all straightened out.
Okay, any new business? No? Okay. Water Sewer Treatment Management and Operations Committee is adjourned.
Very good.
Hallelujah.
Good job. Dave will be proud of you. Next up, Planning Development, Agriculture and Tourism. We're missing Supervisor Hayes and the chair, Mr. Barnhart. So it's up to, I guess, Vice Chair Ernie Burnell to be the chairman tonight, acting chair.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. First issue, Board of Supervisors authorize applying for a hazard mitigation plan grant.
No, I think we're,
I'm lost here, I think.
Thank you, Peter.
are we at the planning, we're at the planning?
Yeah.
Airport. Airport.
Oh, okay.
PDA number 1, PDAT number 1.
Which one you want to do?
Are you on your planning?
They're putting you in charge of planning, so I think you gotta
Oh,
put
okay,
forward.
I didn't realize it was gonna be, yeah, okay, which, they've got these different than they
You
had 'em.
ready? Nope, keep going,
When you leaving, Mike?
going,
15 minutes.
going. Planning, yeah, this is us here.
You and I, Ralph, on the seconds and the.
I got you. Issue number 1, reappointing members for the Finger Lakes Regional Airport Advisory
Ernie,
Committee.
can you speak into the microphone a little closer?
Bring your mic in, Ernie.
Are they?
Bring the microphone in, nobody can hear you.
Ask the worst thing.
There you go.
There you go.
Reappoint members of the Finger Lakes Regional Airport Advisory Committee.
Or,
Second.
All right, this is just some housekeeping. There's 6 members who terms have expired, and we're talking about reappointment. Each one of them are interested in being reappointed. That would be myself, Vern Sessler Jr., Dr. Kenneth Pageant, Don Earl, Nelson Ronsville, and Peter Same. It'll be for a 3-year term expiring in 2024.
Any questions from the committee? From the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Issue number 2, Board of Supervisors authorize Seneca County gain loan to Miranda LLC.
Motion?
Second.
All right, this would be approval of a loan through the GAIN program, which is, its focus is on agricultural-related projects. Miranda LLC has recently purchased a 4-acre property on Kennedy Road, which has a facility, a dairy processing facility. They've looking to purchase new equipment, and they've approached the county. Now, the GAIN program has a maximum loan amount of $200,000. Miranda actually got a loan back in 2016 for $200,000. That loan now is at about $86,000, so we're looking at roughly about a $120,000 loan that would go basically to Miranda for this equipment purchases, and the actual dollar amount would be determined upon closing.
Any questions from the committee? From the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 3, Board of Supervisors authorize the chairman of the board to sign the memorandum of understanding this Seneca County towns and village regarding items to be sent to the Seneca County Planning Board.
Motion?
Second.
All right, this is a little bit of sort of housekeeping. There's been a memorandum of understanding in existence since about 2012. What we've done now is sort of reviewed it, made some administrative changes, and basically it's in an effort to sort of streamline the permitting process by outlining some of the projects that don't necessarily need to come up to the planning board. So it would, reduce the review time. If there are projects that you would still like the planning board, the county planning board to review, they can certainly be sent up, but these are sort of minor projects that have historically, they don't have any county-wide impact. So it's just an update of this, and with approval from the board, these would be sent out to the different towns for their signature and review.
Any questions from the board? From the committee? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Issue Board amends policy for annual operation of Tourism Promotion Agency.
Support.
Second. Second. We have a speaker on it or not? Any questions from the committee?
I'd like to see this to be a 3-year agreement, so we don't have to revisit it every year.
Didn't we try that last year? And
A
said that
couple years ago, we argued about it.
Well, we couldn't do it because you can't spend
We can't,
next year's money.
what we can do, however, is use a option
Percentage?
extension. It basically, we exercise an option to exceed the 1 year. It's an option, it's an option type contract. In other words, it's a contract for 1 year with an option, with a county-based option to extend for 1 year and basically 2 year. Yeah, you can extend it twice.
Yeah, it'd be fine if we can do it.
Yeah.
An amendment then.
Amendment.
I'll make an amendment. We can extend this for up to 3 years.
I'll second the amendment.
Any questions on the amendment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
On PDAP 4.
We got to vote on the regular amendment, on the amended amendment, right?
Amendment, resolution as
Vote on the
amended.
amended amendment.
And we vote on the amendment?
Maybe, can I,
Resolution as amended.
Pardon?
The resolution as amended.
resolution as amended.
Supervisor Brunel, so if I'm reading this right, we're talking about moving the percentage of the room tax from 90 to 75? That's what's coming out of committee?
Yes.
Okay. I just
Yeah.
want to
And
be
for a
clear.
We're gonna do it as, set it up as a
3-year
year.
There's two of them.
No, there's only one amendment. It's already, the proposed resolution calls for reduction to 75%. The amendment is to address this as a 3-year agreement.
Kyle did call me before I got here, and he was willing to change it. He wanted to change it from 75. He's had different thoughts to 80%.
Well, he's not here.
So I think he should know that. No, I just thought I wanted to bring it up, so you knew
We have to
that.
vote on the amended resolution.
Okay, all in favor of the amended resolution?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Well, there you go. That's it. Human service.
Any other unfinished, or any unfinished business for the committee? Any new business? Committee's adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Brunel. Next up, Human Services Committee, Chair Supervisor McGreevy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Human Services Committee, call to order. Issue number 1, Board of Supervisors to approve Seneca County Division of Human Services contractual agreement with Cayuga Centers for Multi-Systemic Therapy.
Motion. Support. Second.
Motion and a second. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, this is a new contractual agreement that we would like to start in 2022. It's part of our mandates from our Family First that I spoke about the last time. We have to have so many evidence-based programs, and because we're a rural county, there's only 2 available to us. Right now, we already have our family functional therapy through Cayuga Centers, which is working very well. The other one is the multi-systematic therapy, and this will concentrate on a lot of our kids who go into congregate care facilities. Right now, we have, I believe it's 18 children in foster care, which is pretty low for us. When I started as commissioner, I think we had almost 70 children. So half of those children, though, however, are in congregate care settings, which is very expensive. So utilizing this money in preventive manners to keep them in their community, having some more family work done will be beneficial for them, and we're required as part of Family First to do this.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Questions from the board? We had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So moved. Issue number 2, Seneca County Board of Supervisors proclaims November 2021 Adoption Month in Seneca County.
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second. Yes, ma'am.
This is just a proclamation that we do every year, recognizing November 2021 this year as Adoption Month. As some of you may know, I am an adopted child out of Seneca County, so I take great pride in making sure that we do this every year. I think currently we have 3 children set to be adopted, but not for this month, unfortunately. They have to stay 6 months into their adoptive home before they can be adopted. But we still want to make sure that we celebrate those of children that are getting adopted through Seneca County.
Good. Questions from the committee? Questions from the board? Not, we've had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So moved. Is there any unfinished business to come before the Human Services Committee? Any new business? Not, Human Services is adjourned. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor McGreevy. Next up, Public Safety Committee, Chairman Brunel.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We have 4 issues on tonight. Issue number 1, Board of Supervisors also applying for hazmat mitigation planning grant.
Motion.
Second.
Anyone to speak on it?
I'll take good notes.
Mr. Chairman, emergency management folks are quite busy dealing with conditions in the county. I don't want to steal the chairman's thunder, but since the meeting started, he has declared a state of emergency for the county, given the conditions. So I was asked to pinch hit for emergency management. This and the next item are standard routine annual grant request that we receive.
It's only about a 12-hour emergency, so sheriff will have it all straightened out by then.
Any questions? The committee or the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 2, issue executive state, state right intermunicipal committee grant contract with New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services and Finance Director authorized to amend the 2021 Seneca County budget.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions from the committee or the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Issue number 3, Board of Supervisors approves accepting a 2021 Emergency Management Performance Grant.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions from the board? Committee? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Issue number 4, Board of Supervisors approved lease with the New York State Police for the use of the Seneca County Fire Training Center.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions from the committee? From the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Any unfinished business? Excuse me. Any new business? You adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Cornell. Next up, Finance Assessment and Insurance Committee, Chairman Reynolds.
Thank you, Chairman Heisen. Number 1 is budget amendments, and I see Haley is making her trip to the podium.
So good evening. Before we get started, I wanted to make an amendment to this resolution before you. Note number 4, where we are doing a Sewer 1 budget adjustment, we've determined that these funds could be used out of the capital project for Sewer 1 that still exists. So I'd like to just remove note number 4 from the resolution.
Number 4?
Yep.
Gone, all right.
So before you, I have adjustments to the 2021 budget. Note number 1 is the movement of highway road construction expenses from the maintenance budget into the construction lines. Note number 3 is the emergency disaster budget adjustment for the COVID bonus time getting used up. Note number 3 is a water budget adjustment where we are moving from the full and part-time lines to cover the professional fees to pay the Village of Waterloo contract. Note number 5 is the public health adjustment to cover their liability insurance, where we have excess funds out of the early intervention transportation line. Note number 6 is to make adjustments in the workers' comp budget, just moving between the lines to cover current expenditures. County attorney budget is to pay for legal fees and utilizing the increased sale revenue from Keedy Road. Note number 8 is DHS budget adjustments between the lines, between full-time and overtime line to cover up 2 part-time positions and on-call, and also between 2 expenditure lines. Note number 9 is the medical insurance and coroner's budget adjustments. We're going to take those funds from contingency. Currently, the contingency budget still has $221,000 in it. Any questions?
I'm going to need a motion from somebody on the committee.
Motion.
Second.
Any other questions from any of the board? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, we're down to the hottie here, tentative budget. Who's gonna talk on that one? Oh, she handing it off to Mitch.
I will, for starters, and then I'll ask Haley to join in. So everybody, supervisors should have.
Got it.
Supervisors should have on your desk a printout of a brief presentation document on the tentative 2022 Seneca County budget, which was filed last Monday, October the 18th. It's okay, I'll just take a few minutes and hit some of the high points. Looks like I may have put a mistitle on. So general fund appropriations, $69,562,855, an increase over last year's adopted budget of $2.8 million. The levy as proposed would remain flat from last year to this year at $10,295,000. Sales tax revenue would, as filed in the tentative 2022 budget, would go to $27,100,000. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
As a side note, we are on track at this point to do about $29 million in sales tax revenue this year, which would set an all-time high. It's always best to estimate sales tax conservatively, because if we have a repeat of COVID impacts or anything else that adversely affects the economy. Gaming revenue was budgeted last year at $1.5 million. Have projected it at $2.2 million for 2022. For context, pre-COVID, the gaming revenue for Seneca County related to Del Lago was about $2.5 million. So again, that's a conservative estimate. County for years has had a tax reduction reserve policy, which basically allows a percentage of each of the past 4 years' budget underruns to be able to potentially carry forward to take pressure off the tax levy. Haley's analysis indicated that we could have used up to $4 million in the reduction reserve. We are in the tentative budget proposing $2.4 million, a little bit less than was programmed into the budget for this year. Hotel motel tax has, similar to the sales tax, has seen a very strong rebound coming out of the COVID pandemic. An increase of a little over 208,000. You had an item earlier tonight at the Planning, Development, Agriculture, and Tourism Committee regarding the TPA allocation. And the last point on this sheet is that for properties in the towns that are at a 100% equalization rate, the tax rate would decrease from $4.18 per thousand to $4.07 per thousand, about a 3% decrease in the rate. The next sheet, this is kind of a higher level on the expense side, the AUD categories, economic assistance and opportunity, which is substantially DHS, OFA, and other programs in which we provide support and assistance, would go up about $430,000. Public safety lines would increase a little over $1 million. General government support, which would be Board of Supervisors, County Manager, and a number of the line departments that fall under general government, would be up a little over $500,000. Public health up about $250,000. Transportation, which would be largely highway, including our support for our GRTA, would be up about $800,000. And the education, which is the community college support that we provide, which is mandated. The trend statewide in the last couple of years has been that local government mandated support for community colleges has been trending down, so we projected bringing that down a little bit. The next sheet summarizes the special district and funds: water, sewer, workforce, airport, county roads, workers' comp, risk management. And then Haley, if it's okay, I'll turn it over to you for the next couple pages, reserve fund summary, county fund balance estimates.
Sure. So the reserve fund summary is, I've given you a historical projection or picture of 2017 to October of 21. That includes your repair reserve, which is at 105,000. Technology reserve is at 206,000. The building reserve is at 538,000. The 911 communications reserve, 102,000. Tax reduction reserve is 10,608,000. The SIN property tax reserve was at 357,000. The stop DWI reserve is at 169,000. Alternative to incarceration reserve is at 12,883, and your occupancy tax reserve, tourism reserve, is at 28,015 for a total reserve of 12,127,000. So on the next page, we've given you some county fund balance estimates. Giving you a picture of the beginning of 2021, or the beginning of 2020, beginning of 21, and then the fund balance appropriations that we had budgeted into the 2021 budget. So you can see that general fund, we had a fund balance of $12,009,000 with a fund balance appropriation, which is the tax reserve fund balance of 2.4. Workforce development had a fund balance of $167,399. Of that, we appropriated $61,681 to support the workforce budget in 21. The airport fund balance was at $385,000, and we had appropriated in 21 $104,000 to support their operating budget. Water District 1's fund balance is at $443,000. Sewer District is at $380,000. Sewer District 2 is at $447,000. Sewer District 3 shows a negative fund balance due to the capital project investments and the bond resolutions. County Road fund balance was at $2,667,000, where we appropriated $500,000 to support the 2021 budget. Road machinery was at $1,086,000, and we had appropriated $499,000 to support 21's budget. The workers' comp fund balance shows a negative $3,124,000. That was an audit adjustment that was made last year to show the potential NBNR risks. And then the self-insurance reserve is at $2,089,000. So those are your current fund balances. And then we gave you a snapshot of the county debt schedule and their balances and what they would be at the end of 2022. You can see we have the bond resolution, or the bonds for the law enforcement center at 3.9 at the end of 22. The county courthouse would be at 1.7 at the end of 22. Water District 1 would be $455,000. Sewer District 1 is a $1.2 million balance, and Sewer District 3 will be $4.8 million. The next page, we wanted to show you what we were supporting the county affiliates and if there were any changes up or down related to them. So we've given you the soil and water conservation. The 22 request is for $325,000, which was an increase of $26,900. Cornell Cooperative Extension requested $410,000 for 2022, which is up $12,000. The libraries requested $130,000 for 22 for an increase of $20,000. County Fair is at $6,000. The Beverly Animal Shelter was $50,000 request, up $1,175. The Seneca County Transportation Corp flat at $15,000. The IDA was flat at $54,000. And then the Chamber of Commerce TPA, based on the occupancy tax projection, would be at 510,857. That would be up an increase of 188.68. And that, Mitch, I understand is at the 90% level, correct?
Yeah, so based, and I think I had emailed the board during preparation that based on the policy that was in effect, the 90%, that I was obligated to put it in at 90%, and with the understanding that the resolution that passed tonight at 75, if that clears the full board, then we will have at least one amendment to the budget to reflect that adjustment.
And then Pathway Home, we're supporting at 5,000, which is no increase from 2022.
Thank you.
So going forward, a reminder that there is a public hearing required as a part of the board's consideration and adoption of the budget. Under New York State County law, the board has until the 20th of December to adopt the budget. I guess the question is whether the committee or the full board wants to hold workshops, invite department heads in to ask questions, or whether you're comfortable with the tentative budget as proposed, which again keeps the levy flat, reduces the rate. All department requests were incorporated into the budget, along with all of our affiliate organizations' requests.
I have a question. What is alternative to incarceration? I know what everything else is in here, I've just never heard of that.
It's a diversionary program that is affiliated with the probation department.
Okay.
And it's funded by some of the percentage of the DWI bail fees that come.
Is this something they do for like the youth, or is this like a program for everyone?
I think it can. I'm not sure of who actually participates, but I know Deb Rickerson is the one who heads it up, and it deals with community service, I think, too.
Margaret will help. Margaret has an answer.
Yeah, it's for adults. It involves community service. Deb Rickerson runs the program.
Ankle bracelets.
Ankle bracelets.
That's the one that the DA
You gotta go rake in the
money
park.
over with?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Is that the one that the DA brought some money back over to?
I don't know.
No, I don't believe so.
Different one?
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
Good job, Mitch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch and Haley.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Welcome.
Great job. So, we didn't get an answer on that, so no workshops then, I don't think, right? That's what the general flavor of everybody is?
Well, we could bring our suggestions if we can take it home and look at.
All right.
If you wanna change anything, right?
Yeah.
I'm just looking.
And then perhaps for the next cycle, I could bring a resolution to call for and set the public hearing at the December meeting, and then perhaps you could vote on it in December.
Okay, I guess that's fine.
Okay. All right.
When's our drop dead date for county anyway, because?
The 20th. The 20th of December, yeah.
Okay, so we got time. All right.
Yeah.
November 18th if you don't count.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All
right.
right. Does that come under the don't get cocky?
Okay, anything else for finance? Hearing nothing, I guess finance is adjourned. Okay, very good. Thank you, Chairman Reynolds. Next up, what do we got next?
Public health.
Public health.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call the Public Health Services Committee to order. Issue number 1, county manager authorized and directed to sign a contract with New York State Department of Health for Children and Youth with Special Health Care Needs Administration Grant.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Good evening. So this grant, it's an annual grant that we receive from the State Health Department. It is for children with long-lasting physical conditions, developmental disabilities, or even social or emotional conditions. Starts from birth and goes through age 21, and basically seeks to improve their health. We can use this grant for buying specialized medical equipment for children, or infant formula, or all sorts of different things. It's the same amount or same award as last year.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Issue number 2, county manager authorized and directed to sign a contract with the New York State Department of Health for the New York State Public Health Corps PHC Fellowship Grant, or Fellowship Program. Motion?
Motion.
Second on that?
Second.
All right, Scott?
So this is a new state program they came up with last summer. The rollout of it has been kind of rough from the state to the local counties, frankly, but the intent of the program is to increase staffing within local health departments to aid us in responding not only to the COVID-19 pandemic, but also to any emerging issues down the road. The grant is lasts for just under 2 years, going through July 31st, 2023.
Okay. Questions from the committee? Questions from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Issue number 3, Board of Supervisors approves agreement with the S2AY Rural Health Network for the New York State Public Health Corps Fellowship Program.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Scott?
So this dovetails with the previous resolution. It's tied to the new Public Health Corps Fellowship Program. As part of that, each county was deemed worthy of X number of employees, basically, coming through this program by the state. Seneca County was deemed worthy of 4, 3 being, I guess, lower level, frankly, and 1 higher level. We chose to utilize that higher level fellow. That was a resolution you approved through personnel earlier tonight for the supervising public health nurse. I forget what the official title was, but that's a position we'd like to keep long-term. But these other 3 positions, and looking down the road, frankly, post-COVID, I'm not sure I could use 3 additional positions, and I wouldn't ask the county to pay for these 3 additional positions long-term. So the SAY Public Health, or the SAY Rural Health Network has agreed to hire these for the duration of the grant. And so then when it's done, we're not responsible for anything else. While they are working for SAY, though, they will be working in or with Seneca County. We can use them for whatever their expertise is, whether it's epidemiology or helping us with COVID vaccination clinics or anything else. So we get 3 of these folks and then the 1 other that you approved earlier this evening.
Okay, any questions from the committee? Questions from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Any unfinished business? Any new business? Oh, go.
Hi, Joe. I'm just wondering what the mandate will be to lift the mandatory mask in the county building. Since that vote, I've been called a communist and a socialist and a Marxist, even a Democrat. Is there, is there a number of cases, that it's 5% now, I believe, positivity rate, something to that effect?
Well, I think the first criteria I would probably use is, are we still in that highest risk deemed by the CDC, which we are now. Granted, our cases have been declining. The last couple of weeks, our caseload has come down substantially. However, we still have, we're still tracking 50 plus positive cases at the moment, 56 as of this evening before I came here. Our hospitalizations were very high 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had 14 residents in the hospital just a couple of weeks ago, and we logged 5 deaths in the span of 10 days, which I think was an unfortunate record for this county. The last several days, thank goodness, we haven't logged any additional deaths, and our hospitalizations have come down from 14 just a couple of weeks ago to 5. So, if those metrics are trending in the right direction, unfortunately, we're in our region, not all counties are going that direction. There are still counties where they still have really bad numbers that are either staying high or even going up. So I think first I would look at, how we are as a county. Are we still in that super high risk? Other metrics, I think, we have to take that risk benefit analysis into account. Are we increasing the risk to either visitors or our own county employees by removing the masks? Right now, there's still a lot of community spread in our community, so I would still advise wearing the masks, but certainly we can continue to evaluate that criteria and in concert with our...
One other thing, are you offering booster clinics?
We have...
At this time?
Yes, we have begun offering the Pfizer booster.
and the other boosters were just approved here in the last few days. And of course, the state has to do their own thing. The feds approve it, and then the state has to review it and approve it. They have done so. I should have standing orders updated and signed by our medical advisor in hand by our Thursday clinic so that we can start offering the boosters for the J&J and the Moderna as well. Additionally, in preparation for the pediatric or the younger, the 5 to 11 coming, we have pre-ordered that Pfizer vaccine in anticipation of that approval. And we're working to set up a clinic to go into the schools. We're going to start in one of the big schools in the north end, bring the vaccine to the kids where the kids are, and then proceed into the other schools after that. So we're setting that up as well.
Well, I hope we can boost the percentage, and it's, Ralph said it several months ago, we're never going to see 50% vaccination rate in Seneca County, and I don't think we have it yet, do we?
No, I think we're still just sub 50, mid to upper 40s, but we're also teaming up with the state health department. They offered to help us with a back to vax, I think they call it, program. And so they'll actually provide the nurses for the clinic and promote the clinic and so forth. And that's targeted at the 12 to 17 year olds, which we don't have enough 12 to 17 year olds vaccinated yet either. And so they've offered that, and I took them up on that offer. So we're coordinating to set up one of those clinics as well as getting ready for the 5 to 11s.
Well, I know personally, it's no joke. So I encourage everybody to get a vaccine. Almost killed me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Scott, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Do we have to pay New York State for doing the contact tracing for Seneca County?
No.
That's no charge to the county?
Correct.
Okay. And you guys, so you're not doing the individual calling of people once they you're just contacting the schools and stuff? Is that how?
Well, earlier in the pandemic, we were doing mostly all of our own contact tracing. We were checking in with the positives, verifying the isolations, all that. Most of that is done by the state at this point.
Okay.
I mean, that said, our nurses are still pretty busy with all the cases that we've had coming in, and coordinating those activities with the state and with the school specialists. The state gave us, and actually we now have 2 school specialists. We had one for the county for all this time. About 3-4 weeks ago, we were granted a second school specialist to help keep up with the influx of cases in that age group as school opened. And they're state employees, and they've actually done a very good job. They work very well with us. And if there are issues, they'll raise them up to us, and that's where our nurses come in to help resolve those issues at the local level. But yes, we don't owe the state anything for those services.
No, I just was curious because there's a little bit of confusion. People I've talked to that have been going through COVID and whatnot, they keep getting told, well, the health department's going to call you, the health department's going to call you. But the health department never calls, and I did some research on it, and my understanding is that it's just New York State tracing that is handling it, but the county is still calling employers on positives and still dealing with the schools on the positives, and I just wanted to verify because that's a little bit of a misconception with people, so thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. The Public Health Services Committee is adjourned.
Thank you, Chairman Borst. Next up is here, Public Works Supervisor Trout. Don't forget the 4th issue.
No, yeah, several issues that aren't even on your agenda. So, first one that is on the agenda. Board of Supervisors accepts transfer of parcel of land adjacent to former Seneca Army Depot Airfield from the Seneca County Industrial Development Agency. Plan to retain and enhance law enforcement and fire training assets for the county.
Support.
Second.
Motion made and properly seconded. Everybody knows what this is, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Issue 2, authorize.
Was it Supervisor Borst that opposed?
Nobody opposed.
Why do you guys do that? Okay, I know what you're doing. I know what I'm missing, because you're going opposed, and then I'm thinking something.
You're thinking somebody opposes it. Got it.
Now I get it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, sir.
No problem. Issue 2, authorize snow and ice agreement with Town of Fayette.
Support.
Second.
Motion made and properly seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Issue 3, supervisors authorize supplemental agreement and adjustment to estimated expenditure for snow and ice 2021, 2022.
Support.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Motion made and probably second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and on the stuff that you don't have in front of you, let's see here. We'll do the Keedy Road parcel first. Supervisors authorize sale of Keedy Road parcel tax ID 16117 in the town of Lodi.
Support.
Second.
Motion made and probably seconded. This is something we already took care of earlier, but
If I may, I had a call from the buyer's attorney today. They had their title insurance company review the prior resolution, and I think I spelled out both of it. There are now, the original buyer set up another LLC, so it's basically the same people, but they wanted to hold it in 2 different names. And then the other one is that their title company wanted to make sure that we specified in the resolution that County Manager Rowe could sign the paperwork. So that was the purpose for this resolution. And we're trying to have this matter closed on Friday. So that's why they happened to come in tonight.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next up, for the one that's not in front of you. Need a resolution authorizing and directing the county manager to take all actions to acquire the Route 414 sewer line, and the IDA has no cost.
Support.
Second.
Motion made and probably seconded. This is what we discussed earlier. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, need a resolution authorizing ARPA funds not to exceed $48,000 to be used for Phase 1 repairs of said sewer line following the acquisition by the county.
Support.
Motion made and probably seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Public Works is done unless somebody else has something they want to bring before Public Works. Good, we're done.
Good,
Fine
very
job.
good, good, quick Public Works Committee meeting, Chairman.
We like to get things done quickly. Efficiency.
What's next here? Personnel, that's all done. Who's next here? Mental health services?
Mental health.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call Mental Health Services Committee to order. We have one issue tonight. Issue 1, contract amendment, increase hours budget for peer support specialists. Can I get a motion?
Support.
Second.
Motion and properly seconded. Margaret?
Thanks. We have a increased demand for peer support services. And we have a peer who's wants to work more hours than what existing in his contract. We had the funds already in our contract lines, so it's a, there's no change to the budget.
Great.
So we just want to increase his hours.
Okay, sounds good. Any more questions for Margaret?
Yes, I have a question for you. You'll finish the resolution first. Yes, finish the resolution.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions from the committee? Okay, any questions from the board?
Okay, Margaret, could you tell us how successful the visit of the Attorney General was?
Okay. Hang on, Mr. Mayor. Okay, all those in favor of the current issue?
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Go ahead, Mr. Chairman. All right, I know what you were doing. Okay.
Okay. I want to know when you're done with the resolution. Okay. Yeah, tell us how nice that event was.
Yeah, it was
in Auburn.
It was a great visit. We were very appreciative to have the Attorney General, Letitia James, come to the Community Mental Health Center, the Seneca County Community Counseling Center. She took a tour of the building. We showed her our programming. She met a number of our staff. We showed her where we provide a lot of our telehealth services. She asked a lot of really great questions. We had her actually meet the peer whose contract we just expanded upon. He's actually a graduate of our program and now works for us. And so that was you know, really cool for her to meet him. They talked quite a while. They're both from Brooklyn, so they had some stuff in common. It was a great visit. It certainly was wonderful to be presented with our big check for, I don't know, Mitch, it was what, about $577,000.
Yep.
So we need to think about exactly how we're going to use those funds. Those funds are going to come through the Office of Addiction and Support Services through the Mental Health Department. So there'll have to be a plan developed for the use of those funds. She asked us about how we would like to use the funds. She had great questions, very personable. It was a great honor.
Good news on two fronts, really, in a matter of a week's time, so.
Yeah, that was a nice surprise. Yeah. Thank you to, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Margaret.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, any more unfinished business for this committee? New business? Mental Health Committee stands adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman Enslow. Next up, Indian Affairs Committee. Anything ongoing?
The Indian Affairs Committee has not met that I know about, at least I wasn't at the meeting, but there are some things going on, just from informational. A different faction of the Cayuga Indians has opened a gas station / cigarette store on Baird Street. As far as I know, I haven't been by there to check it out, but I think.
Well, they're doing real good.
It was busy today.
You can go in and buy several different kinds of pot. Gas is
They're selling pot right now?
Yeah.
Oh, good for them.
And if you drive down past your sister's house there, the end of Pump House Road, they got a new pot station there too. It's a
Oh, I saw that thing. I thought that
little
was a
shed,
Halloween thing.
with a marijuana leaf lit up and open sign.
Fluorescent lights.
Is it Halftown?
No, these are just, if anybody's ever driven around Pembroke over in that neck of the woods, everybody's got a little shed out in front of their house. It's on supposedly reservation land, and they sell pot, cigarettes, and exotic pipes. So, yeah. We don't get a bit of sales tax out of it, though. That's the deal.
The gas station was busy today. Boy.
The sheriff's still here. I'd like to know how he's going
That's the place to be if you're a
check
pothead.
people. Do you have a plan to check people if they're high on marijuana when they're driving?
Makes it really hard because you have to have what they call a DRE, a drug recognition expert.
Yeah.
To make an arrest for a drug, you have to have people stop for one thing. But I know Chief Pinster's looking into that because, I don't know if it's legally do it or not. If it was you, you'd arrest you, but they're on their own property and all that stuff, and the laws kind of money.
It's legal in New York State.
Yeah, yeah. I know, as a farmer, we go on the backside of a lot of people's properties, and this spring there was more pots with marijuana plants than we think we've ever seen before since we've been farming here in 40 years.
Yeah.
And now they don't have to hide it, apparently. They can just do it wherever they want, so.
There you go, Ralph.
Yep, no.
That's a cash crop.
Yeah.
That's right, yep. So, any other comments or things about Indian Affairs?
No, not to my knowledge, other than I guess it's just one person opened up the old Sky Dancer.
That's what they say.
He's not Clint Halftown's clan. Clint doesn't have a clan anymore. This
It's his mother.
It's his brother?
Mother.
It's his mother's, yeah. That makes sense. But that's all I got.
All right, Mr. Chairman, that ends the business of the Indian Affairs Committee.
Boy, that was a humorous committee meeting. Boy, thank you, Chairman Lott. Next up, Environmental Affairs Committee, Chairman Cronewetter.
I don't have anything specific on the menu, but I think after today's rain, there'll be a lot of environmental effects, so hopefully we can get the culverts cleaned out and back in operating condition after this. I'm sure the wastewater treatment plant in Seneca Falls is pumping a lot of raw sewage in the canal right now. So.
Yeah. Willard is
blowing out the manholes by the canal. So.
Willard has an infiltration problem right now too.
I know it does.
It should go away in a day or two. Okay, anything else? Okay, you're adjourned. Next up, we got a special board meeting. Anybody want to leave for a couple minutes, recess? We do have to make a couple changes here. We gotta change the date.
Yeah, they did get amended, so it's gonna be what, the 18th, right?
Different time.
You got that marked up, sir?
Yeah, but it's okay if it's 17 hours later, but it's not okay if you're 17 minutes ahead of it.
Oh, jeez.
How mad would you be if everybody showed up at 5:30 and all of a sudden there's 3 other people? We had to wait till 6.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I guess.
In this package, the resolution for the.
Did you see the article?
This one here, they're in this package.
For T, no. It should be,
I
yeah.
was laughing when I see this.
You gotta do that too.
TPA report.
Paper just
Might be
needs to
office space.
doing that.
Get those TPS reports.
What? Oh, which paper?
I had a question. But I don't think I can share.
They're suing the new store.
Oh.
Got mad I kept throwing all that garbage in there.
Just have to do a link.
I was like down at the end, Ernie.
Pardon?
I was like on the end of the board.
Pretty good.
If I gotta swim home.
Yeah, you probably do.
Mr. Rutland.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to put you on.
Margaret, are you ready for the roll call?
I am, sir. Supervisor Reynolds?
Here.
Supervisor Garlic Lorenzetti?
Here.
Supervisor Brownell?
Here.
Supervisor Barnhart? Supervisor Borst?
Here.
Supervisor Hayes? Supervisor Ferrara? Supervisor Cronenwetter?
Here.
Supervisor Lott?
Here.
Supervisor McGreevy?
Here.
Supervisor Heisen?
Here.
Supervisor Trout?
Here.
Supervisor Clear? Supervisor Enslow?
Stay here.
Yes. Here. You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, very good. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, please be seated. Ready for sunshine tomorrow. Okay, next up, resolutions and motions. Got number 4, I mean.
Board of Supervisors calls for public hearing to consider bond resolution and map and plan for Seneca County Sewer District Number 1.
Support.
Now you gotta do an amendment and change the
Oh,
date.
it's already been amended, sir.
We'll just change it out of the.
Yeah.
on the paper.
Yeah, we'll do it. It's already amended before the board.
We're in the habit of presenting our resolutions before they're even adopted, but you already changed it, so what we printed beforehand,
Doesn't matter then. I don't have
Right.
to,
You don't have to do that.
we're all good.
be nice to notify the people though that it's November 18th at 6 PM. This is on TV here,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
so you probably should amend it to, why don't you just amend it as what was done originally?
All right, the public hearing will be held November 18th at 6 PM.
Okay. A second on that?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now the resolution is amended. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Board of Supervisors calls for public hearing to consider bond resolution and map and plan for Seneca County Sewer District Number 2.
Four.
A second there. Okay, we got a motion to amend it to November 18th at 6
I'll
PM.
make that motion. Amend it to November 18th.
Okay, all those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Amendment is carried. All those in favor of the resolution as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
Supervisors authorize time-sensitive repairs at Willard Wastewater Treatment Facility.
Motion.
A second on that, okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 7.
Board of Supervisors accepts transfer of parcel of land adjacent to the former Seneca County Depot Airfield from the Seneca County Industrial Development Agency's plan to retain and enhance law enforcement and fire training assets for the county.
Motion.
Second.
Second there, motion and a second, okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You have another one?
Petey.
Katy Road. That's it.
Katy Road?
Oh, we're doing the Key Road one tonight?
Yeah.
Katy Road.
Not a single page, Don.
By itself.
It's by itself.
I already threw it out.
Here, you need mine?
Email it.
Thank you.
Oh, he's got one? All right.
Supervisors authorize sale of Kitty Road parcel tax ID 16-1-17 in the town of Lodi.
Support.
A second on that, good. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now are we complete? Oh, okay, before we adjourn, I'd like to go into executive session.
Can you see the time for me?
One for Mike.
No, you read one?
Yeah.
I move to enter into an executive session pursuant to section 105, 1D and F of the New York State Open Meetings Law and invite the members of the Board of Supervisors, the Personnel Officer, the County Attorney, and the County Manager. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are now in executive session.